Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this joint meeting of the House and Senate, Georgia House and Senate Reapportionment Committee. My name is Roger Lane, and I'm chairman of the House Reapportionment Committee. I'm from Darien, Georgia, which is down on the coast, and it's great to see y'all here. Seated up here with me is Doug McKillop. He can introduce himself before I go any further.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Doug McKillop. I'm a House of Representative member and secretary of this committee from Athens. Good to see all y'all tonight.
And the Senate chairman of the Senate committee was unable to be here, or either of the officers from the Senate committee could not be present. They've got a function going on in Atlanta, I think. This will be a public hearing designed to receive your input on redistricting, both local House districts and Senate districts and congressional districts and statewide districts. We want your input and your comments on redistricting. So we thank all y'all for being here. Before we get going, I would like to remind of a couple of things. All members of the legislature, and we're going to recognize those in just a minute, but if you're a member of the committee, you need to let Jeremy know that you're here. I think you've already done that. We did that last night in Athens. If anybody wants to speak to the committee, you sign in out front. I think a number of you have already signed in, but if there's anybody here who decides they want to speak, just let them know out front, and they'll put you on the list and bring that up to us. At this time, I would like to recognize the, first of all, we do the Georgia Senate. If y'all would stand, the Senate members stand just as a group to start with, and then I want you to be recognized by the audience. These are the senators present for this joint hearing. And then if you would, please introduce yourself and kind of tell the folks where you're from, what area you represent.
I'm Senator Harbison from the 15th Senatorial District, that is Columbus, Georgia. I'm a member of this committee. I have been ever since I've been in the Senate for 19 years, and I'm glad to be here to get your input. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I'm Senator Hardy Davis. We welcome you to Augusta State University. I welcome you to the 22nd Senatorial District, of which you're sitting in, and these are, I believe, my constituents.
And I might comment, what a beautiful campus. It's really, really pretty.
I'm Senator Harsina Tate. I'm from Atlanta. Good to be with you.
I'm Senator Robert Brown from Macon. And again, as I stand, I want to register my protest against the manner in which this has been organized and the exclusion of Democrats from the process.
All right, we're not having a contest here, so let's hold the applause down as much as we can.
Steve Henson from Senate District 41, which is parts of DeKalb and Gwinnett counties.
Any other senators?
I'm Senator Bill Jackson from the 24th Senatorial District, which is just across the county line, west up as far as Elbert County.
I'm Senator Jesse Stone from the 23rd. I share Richmond County with Senator Davis and also 7 other counties.
Okay, at this time, if the members of the House Reapportionment Committee would stand together so they can be recognized as a group. And then we'll do the same thing with the microphone, pass it around, and tell us who you are and where you're from and who you represent.
I guess that means I started off. I'm Henry Wayne Howard. You're in Augusta, Georgia, as you already know, and welcome to Augusta. I represent District 121.
Good evening. My name is Sean Jurgensen. I represent District 22, which is in Cherokee County, and I live in Holly Springs, Georgia.
I might point out for the audience, Representative Jurgensen is also chairman of the subcommittee of the House Reapportionment Committee that will be looking at the congressional districts. And we appreciate your service there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm not a member of the committee, but I'm Representative Vernon Smith, District 122, Augusta, Georgia.
Good afternoon. I'm Lynn Smith from Noonan, Georgia. It's House District 70. It's the western part of Coweta, part of Heard County, and the city of Noonan. Thank you for having us.
State Representative John Yates. I live in Spalding County, represent Spalding, Henry, and Fayette. Thank you.
I'm Representative Quincy Murphy. I am not on the committee, but represent the House District 120. If you're coming west from Atlanta, you pass through House District 120.
Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Ed Reinders from House District 152 in beautiful southwest Georgia. I represent parts of Lee, Daugherty, Worth, and Colquitt counties.
I'm Tom Dixon. I live in Whitfield County, represent House District 6, which is parts of Whitfield, Murray, and Catoosa counties. I enjoyed the ride in today. It was such a pretty ride coming into Augusta. I enjoyed that.
State Representative Sisty Hudson from Sparta, Georgia. That's District 124. I represent 6 counties in east central Georgia.
I'm Representative Gloria Frazier. I represent District 123, Richmond and Burke County. I'd like to welcome all of my colleagues in the House and the Senate here today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I'm Representative Ron Mayo. I represent portions of DeKalb and Henry counties, House District 91.
I'm Barbara Reese. I represent an area in northwest Georgia, House District 11, Floyd and Chattooga counties, right on the Alabama line and just a little bit south of Chattanooga.
I'm Willie Townton. I represent District 145, which is Warner Robins, Georgia.
Everybody here, Representative Dollar? Okay. Let's give all these representatives and senators a big hand. They've got a big task ahead of them. We appreciate them all being here today. I think it's very important that we all participate in this process and to hear what you have to say and to take that back to us when we start drawing the lines later this summer. We'll have a record of everything that you've said and will be part of the consideration for the districts that we redraw. Usually when we elected officials come to meetings like this, we do all the talking. And that's going to be different tonight, and y'all usually do the listening. The purpose of us being here is to get your input and to hear from you as to what you think about redistricting and how we should go about it. So we're going to be quiet and let you all do the talking, and we're going to call you up here in a minute. A little bit of background. Every 10 years, as most of y'all probably know, we have a census required by the federal government of the population of all the states and all the counties and all the cities. And then based upon that, the states are required to redraw all the districts. We have to redraw all the state house districts, state senate districts, and all the congressional districts, and the public service commission districts, so that each district is pretty equal in population as much as you can make them under the geography of the state. The county and school board and city commissions also have to redraw their districts based upon the population changes. That's not what these committees do. We just do the state house, state senate, and congressional and public service commission. But there will be requirement for the counties to be looking at redrawing their commission districts, and the cities to redraw their districts, and school boards to redraw their districts. Any districts that are based upon population that are serving on a commission, if the populations have changed, then they have to redraw those. But that's not what we're doing here. As I said, we want to hear from all of you. And in order to do that, we've had a number of folks sign up. We were in Athens last night, and we had a pretty similar number of folks there that wanted to speak to us, and we allotted 3 minutes to each speaker. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use the whole 3 minutes, and you get extra points if you don't take the full 3 minutes. And we're handing out points up here from the table, so we'd appreciate. Now, we want to hear from you, and I know 3 minutes is short sometimes, and sometimes it's a long time, but we want to try to limit it to 3 minutes so we can hear from everybody. We will be videotaping this. The committees are videotaping these proceedings, and those videotapes will be archived, and they'll be made a part of the legislative records, so that we'll have those available when we start drawing districts. If we want to go back and look at what someone had to say, we'll have that also be available on the internet for y'all to see if you want to see what's happening at other hearings. We've scheduled 12 of these. We've only had one so far. You're the second one, and we'll have 10 more, but those will be available on the internet. And that website that you can go to see those is www.legis.ga.gov. And the press releases and the videos, and you also can make comments at that website. It's available for you to give us input, and we'll have someone checking those comments, and they'll be made a part of the record. So we'd encourage you to do that. Many of you have signed up to speak. If you haven't signed up, please do so. When we call your name, we want you to come forward to the microphone and state your name and where you're from, and then you can start speaking. If there's anybody who can't get to the microphone that wants to speak to us, we will bring the microphone to you. And we want to hear from you if you're here to tell us about your thoughts about redistricting. So at this time, we'll start out by calling. Representative McKillop's going to call two names. First one comes to the microphone. The second one will be ready on deck to come up and speak after the first one gets through, so we can have a steady movement through the process and make sure we get to everybody that wants to speak to us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Representative McKillop and let him start calling names to come up, and we look forward to hearing from you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to apologize now for anyone's name that I butcher as I try to read them off the thing. I'm going to read two at a time, and if the second name called could come up and have a seat in the front row here so that you're ready at the end of the first name's 3 minutes, we'll go ahead and get started. The first name is Lowell Greenbaum.
And we do have someone here with a timer, so they will let you know when your time's up. And
the second name is Teresa A. Dix. Terrence A. Dix. That's why I apologized before.
I'm Lowell Greenbaum, chairperson of the Richmond County Democratic Party, and I underline Senator Brown's concern that the Democrats have not been very involved in this. I have three major points in my testimony. However, I have to say that without even rough drafts of maps, of new maps, any testimony suffers. Point one, the 12th Congressional District has two major communities of interest that are closely aligned and should be kept in the 12th District. These are Richmond and Chatham counties. The voting history shows that these counties balance voters' interest with the other counties in the 12th District and provide a fair election for the voters in the district, and it has been well represented in Congress. Second point, the State House representation on the 120th, 121, 122, and 123rd have been excellent, and the same with the 22nd Senate District. So there's no reason not to maintain these districts as they are. The re-election of the representatives is proof enough. Point three, there should be a speedy procedure to receive public comments on draft maps of election districts. In fact, I'm surprised that various alternatives are not on display or made public before today. Accurate testimony is hard without them. Delay in producing maps could lead to the courts making decisions rather than legislators. I appreciate the hearing and you being here. Thank you.
Thank you. The next name will be Bob
afternoon. And again, my name is Terrence Dix, for the record. And I am a member of the Richmond County Democratic Party as well. And the three concerns that I have are as follows. We want to know, will the House leadership, will you commit to look at creating a bipartisan citizen commission that guarantees 45% minority population of Georgia is protected in the process? We think that, and we understand that Georgia's still under court order and the like, but the bottom line is that we, are concerned that that the community is going to be shut out and will not be properly heard. Also, a third concern that we have is that we don't know if anyone's begun the line drawing process or not. And if so, we want to know who's doing it and how can we monitor or better monitor the process as voters. And then thirdly, how will you be able to ensure that districts are not packed by a particular party guaranteed a seat at the expense of the other voters? And again, I know I come in as a partisan, and I love a good partisan tussle just as well as anyone. But on the other hand, I think we as Americans ought to be committed to fairness and making sure the activities that we're involved in are fair. And so I just wanted to submit those three questions to you, and I hope that I will be getting a response in a timely manner, and we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Dennis Coxwell.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, my name is Bob Finnegan. I'm the chairman of the Richmond County Republican Party. I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We all here realize that the task that's ahead of you and for this panel is a difficult one. It's a delicate balancing act to ensure that all citizens are fairly represented, while at the same time adhering to federal and state laws and restrictions that are placed on this panel. The one man, one vote principle of equal representation is a sacred right. So please ensure that the districts are drawn to the same size as much as possible. Districts should be structured so they do not carve up neighborhoods or separate groups of people living in an area that have similar interests. The integrity of communities of interest must be respected to the maximum extent feasible. Communities that have similar issues, needs, and legislative concerns deserve representation from someone who lives locally and understands the needs of that community. This reapportionment effort shouldn't be about politics. It shouldn't be about power. It must be about people, about the fair representation of every citizen. This panel has the opportunity to get it right this time and avoid past attempts to manipulate district boundaries, often resulting in something that resembles an ink blot test. Let's learn from these past mistakes. Thank you for your time.
S.H. Nunnally. Yeah,
maybe y'all can hear me. Okay. I'm Dennis Coxwell. I'm from Warren County. I am the chairman of the Warren County Republican Party and immediate past chairman of the 12th Congressional District for the Georgia Republican Party. And Bob pretty well spoke to what I want to speak for. I want to thank y'all for having these hearings. Some people think they're pony and dog shows, but I got, since the beginning of this country, and I believe it was, what was his name? Anyway, he said that the electors should, Thomas Paine, should come back and present themselves to the elected should come back and present themselves to the elected on a regular basis. And thank you for doing this. I know there are smart people involved in this process that will look and do, and to some degree we've got to have trust in our elected officials. The point I want to make is this. Power can be very intoxicating. And I brought with me a perfect example of what power can do in the political process. It is the 2001 congressional map, and I'm sure you've all seen this. It has, if you'll look closely, the ink blot, which was sometimes called the roadkill district, up around Atlanta. It looks like somebody's poor little kitty got ran over in 285 and splattered to smithereens, and it left neighborhoods divided all for political gain. There's the donut district over in West Georgia. One district came down, circled, made a donut out of another one, a donut hole rather out of another one, all for political gain. The other one was the first district was drawn up from southeast Georgia in Savannah up to Macon, a sliver up to Macon, and a little tiny sliver over to Moultrie, Georgia, down a street into a neighborhood to get Saxby Chambliss's house in the district of another sitting congressman, all for political gain. And then we have the 12th district that was from Athens, slivered down through Oconee County to Augusta, down to Savannah, all for political gain. I'm proud to say that I was part of 54 people in the 12th Congressional District in 2004 that went to Atlanta and demanded that there be change made. This is the do-wrong. I mean, this is the do-right way. This is the do-wrong way. And all I'm asking is that as y'all deliberate this, you look at these two examples right here, and this is not right, period.
Time, sir. Thank you.
Very much. I appreciate it. Do wrong, do right. Thank you.
I think we had a couple representatives come in the meantime. If y'all could stand and introduce yourself. Lee.
Let's bring the microphone to
Lee Anderson, District 117, Columbia County, Lincoln County, and Wilkes County. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mickey Stevens, District 161, Savannah, Georgia.
All right. It's all right to give these two representatives a little round of applause, even though they're a little bit late.
Ms. Nunley. And after Ms. Nunley, we'll have Dr. Charles Smith.
Good evening. My name is Stella Nunley. I'm a concerned citizen. I'm a part of the Democratic Party of Richmond County. And my concern here today is being fair to everybody. And I hope that whoever is in charge of drawing these lines, that they would draw straight lines instead of crooked lines. That people don't even know where they live. Because you have some people living on one side of the street belong to one party, and they are on the other side of the street belong to another party. And that sure doesn't seem like it's being concerned about everybody. So I'm hoping and praying that whoever draw these lines, that they will be drawn equal and fair and thinking about everybody without just some people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nunley. After Dr. Smith, we'll have Dave Barber. I'm sorry, Barbie.
Good afternoon. I bring you greetings on behalf of President Ben Jealous, National President of NACP, Baltimore, Maryland, State President Edward Dubose, Georgia State Conference NACP, where I serve as State Secretary, and I'm representing the Augusta branch NACP as its President today. Also, my name is listed under the U.S. Justice Department as a contact when it comes to voting lines and redistricting. We would like to express concerns based on the following questions, and we would like for these questions to become part of the record. The concerns we have is, where is the starting point of the map, and you will get a copy of these questions. Where will the first district be drawn? What does the state hope to accomplish by having the different starting points in the mapping processes for the House and the Senate? How much time will the public have for comments and review after the committee recommends a map? And my final question, there's a large population gap between 2009 projected census and the results of the 2010 census. We would like to know and make it a part of the record once the lines are drawn, which numbers will be used in the mapping process. And in this process, as we represent Augusta Richmond County in election protection on election day and voting empowerment on every election, we want to make sure that the lines are drawn will be representative of the makeup of the communities, as well as those individuals who will be representing the communities at large or at hand as well. So we thank you for this opportunity, and we are sure that you will do the right thing and make sure whatever is done will be in the best interest of all registered voters and all citizens of Augusta Richmond County as well as the state of Georgia. Thank you, sir.
Dean Embry. Gene Embry.
My name is Dave Barbie, and I'm the former chairman of the 10th Congressional District, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Thank all of you for coming and being with us today. Again, while you're all drawing your maps this year, always remember what our forefathers drew up was the Constitution and then the leadership of Georgia when they drew up the Georgia Constitution. First of all, Equal Protection Clause requires that you make sure that the maps reflect one person and one vote, so draw the line so that we all have districts about the same size. Don't repeat the mistakes of the last redistricting when Democrats packed all the Republicans in their districts so they could try to save Democrat districts where there weren't enough people to have a district. That's not fair to anyone. Secondly, our state constitution says that the districts have to be contagious so that you can get to any point in the district without ever leaving it. Every district before the last time, that meant something. It meant that the district was a true whole, not connected by water or a 10-foot strip of land bridges. Please follow the spirit of the integrity requirement of the Constitution. Because, fellas, you saw the old map. To get to the 10th district, I had to drive through the 12th. There's no sense in that. And there's no community of interest. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Brian Slowinski.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. I just have two questions. When will citizens be able to see the proposed maps and comment on them before they're adopted by the legislature? And the second question is, how will we be notified? Good.
Robert Ingram.
My name is Brian Slowinski. I'm the chairman of the Columbia County Republican Party. Fellow legislators, thank you and welcome to Augusta, my fellow citizens. We are here to enlist your help today to understand, to better represent us, we the people, for the next 10 years. I urge you to adopt 8 approaches for your deliberations. First thing, no precinct splitting. Keep the districts at least within 1%. Don't split up the districts. Keep them together stops the confusion among voters. Second, equal population in the districts. In the end, one legislator should not be representing a whole lot more than another. Third, compact districts. No gerrymandering. Please draw districts that are compact and look like districts. Don't re-argue past mistakes or past wrongs. Instead, lead us out of the pandering and stop the meandering of district lines. Fourth, keep counties whole and united if you can, specifically outstate. Counties are the basic governing body in this country and have been since this country was founded. Keeping that structure together benefits all citizens. Metro counties must be split up only because of the density of population, but try to keep as much representation within each individual county and city unit as possible. Please keep, like I said before, please keep outstate districts together, not split like the last time for redistricting. Like, for example, Richmond County was cut down the middle. Chatham County was cut down the middle. I believe there were a couple other ones like Gordon County here, down here, I can never say this, Louds? pardon me. Fifth, honor your oath and Constitution. The Equal Protection Clause requires that you make the maps reflective of one person, one vote. So draw the districts so they're all districts about the same size. 6, no multi-member districts. Multi-member districts violate the law of equal representation and smell of political incumbency self-preservation society. 7th, fair maps. Maps that are equal in population, that do not divide our communities or do not split counties or precincts. We want you to respect our constitutions and our voting and the Voting Rights Act. We want an open process that allows all members of the legislature to participate, keep us posted during the process, and allow our feedback. Be sure to open and transparent and have transparent meetings. And 8th and final point.
Time, sir.
I have down 2 minutes and 37 seconds when I started. So I have a timer right here.
We're going to give you 40
And in time, and final was hyphenated communities. It's time to acknowledge the big brother in the room, which is the Justice Department and the federal courts. We are all in this great melting pot that welcomes different races and creeds. My own family is a great example of this great melting pot. My 2 older boys and I are adopted from Minnesota. My wife is from Germany. We have 2 girls that are adopted from China, and we also have 2 little boys that are adopted from Guatemala. Now, we are not Polish Americans, German Americans, Chinese Americans.
Are you beyond your time now?
We are just Americans, and not hyphenated Americans. So just work to make sure that our country is not divided and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we had another representative come in. Yep. Just introduce yourself. Say hi.
Representative Max Jackson from District 142, which includes Jefferson County, Washington County, portion of Burke, Emmanuel, and Johnson.
Thank you. There you go. And after Mr. Ingram, we'll have Patsy Harris.
I'm Robert Ingham. I'm part of the Richmond County Democratic Executive Committee. Besides, I was in the last 3 census, and they do a real fine job. Let's not undo what they've tried to perfect with a mass of staff that is hired on a phased basis. In other words, you're hired for one reason, and you could be doing half a dozen other things by the end of the month. We have an excellent congregation. We have community, lots of community meetings, and sometimes they're in conflict with one another, like this past Saturday. Remember, the Census Bureau is behind you 100%. I'm Robert Ingham.
Thank you. After Ms. Harris, we'll have Clara Calloway.
Hi, I'm Patsy Harris. I'm the chairman of the 10th Congressional District for the Democratic Party of Georgia, and I live in Morgan County, in the real Buckhead.
That's right.
I wanted to state 2 concerns that I have about fairness of the process. The first hearing last night in Athens was led by 6 white men from your committee. This second hearing is led by 2 white men. I'm concerned that fairness will not be applied to the concerns of minorities. The second is, Mr. McKillop, you were elected last year as a Democrat in the overwhelmingly Democratic District of Athens, and you know that the only way you will be reelected as a newly named Republican is for your district to be redrawn. I'm concerned that your being on this committee shows lack of basic fairness in the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're not. Go ahead.
After that, we'll have Kelly Pearsons.
Do I look scared? I am. I'm Clara Calloway, and I'm a retired educator, a member of the NAACP, and I'm also representing Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. And I have some concerns as a mother and as a retired educator. I am hoping that when this forum is over, when all 12 are over, that you will have a meeting to address members of the community like me. so we can understand what is going on. There's a lot of language that so many people do not understand. So we want you to break it down to the citizens of the community so we will know what you're talking about. Also, I am concerned about in the redistricting principles that how it would affect our schools, how it would affect our voting privileges, and also the economic effect that it will have on each community. And one question I want to ask is, when will the state establish or decide on the redistricting principles that will govern the drawing of the maps? Thank you so much.
Thank you. After Ms. Persons, we'll have Cleveland Osteen.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kelly Persons. I'm actually out of Gwinnett County, but I'm here with the League of Women Voters and the Georgia Redistricting Alliance. We've been watching this process since the session started back in January, or at least I have, our organizations. We do have a couple goals with what we're trying to do is make sure it's fair, it's open, it's process, and also engage the public in it. That's a component that we are pushing for. We do have two concerns about this process. You know, redistricting is no longer under the Carl Vincent Institute to draw the lines. It was a few years ago when they did it. So now we feel as if it has lost a layer of that academic integrity and also a layer of public access. There's also, you know, a pledge from the committees to be very nonpartisan or bipartisan as they go through this, but their general counsel that they've hired to usher them through this is also the same general counsel for the state Republican Party. We are concerned that that might be a conflict of interest down the road. We do want to encourage a significant public comment period after these maps are brought out to everybody. And then we also wanted to ask how the public can view these maps as the process is going along, since the redistricting office no longer serves the public. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Joey Tratha. Would actually be after Cleveland Osteen. Okay. Mr. Trena.
Hi there, and start. My name is Joey Trena. I'm a student, voter, taxpayer, and a father in Richmond County. I'm also president of the Young Dems of Augusta, Richmond County. I would hope that in the process of gerrymandering votes between red and blue, that our representatives, operant word being represent, are cognizant of the fact that the Georgians I know aren't walking around with red and blue on like gang members. But aside from the two parties, of which one I am a member, neither has a monopoly on the flag we pledge to that is red, white, and blue. In this democracy, there is a duty and responsibility to the needs of the citizen, and it is the citizen who should be deferred to in decision making. None of these maps here really deferred to me necessarily. And in not knowing what your maps will look like, I don't get the feeling you care. But it's nice to be heard. I wish you could tell me something, but it is nice to have a hearing anyway. Now, with respect to the gentleman from the Republican Party who shunned the interest of political gain in redistricting, please don't pretend that political gain isn't on your mind when more and more pockets of Georgia are turning purple, if not blue. Just be real, as my generation might say. To the point earlier about the original Georgia Constitution in respect to one vote to one citizen, I think at the time of that Constitution, not all of us were valued at one whole vote. Without a clear idea of what these lines you'll be drawing would look like, I can't be certain that in 2011 we will all be given the same full representation, not just 2/3 or 7/8 or 8/7 or 14/20. So who will speak for the voters in your lines? Who will speak for the growing Hispanic voters in your lines? Who will speak for minorities? Who will speak for students? And if people in your lines, if you're not speaking for people in your lines, please give us another district. We could use some real representation. Thank you.
Scott Shepard. And after Mr. Shepard, we'll have Samuel Campbell.
Mr. Chairman and committee members and representatives and senators, my name's Scott Shepard, and I'm the chairman of the Burke County Republican Party, just south of Richmond County. I would like to ask that the unique needs of the rural counties, towns, and communities be taken into consideration and not be used as filler for redistricting purposes. I ask that the committee take into consideration the preservation of communities, and in particular not split counties, that all districts should reflect the communities they serve and not attempt to create a community. And I would like to ask if the Vinson Center was responsible for the map that was shown to us before, the previous districts, if they created that map, and if that's the work of academia or what. I hope we get something better than that. Thank you.
Thank you. After Mr. Campbell, we'll have Lynn Bailey.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Like Ms. Calloway, I'm a retired educator in the greatest profession, I think, in America. And I have two questions. Will the redistricting lines be drawn by a group of white male Republicans who don't represent all of Georgia's citizens? And will our democratically elected representative be locked out of the redistricting process? That's what I read when I read the Augusta Chronicle, that a group of white men will sit in a room and do the redistricting like they want to, not fairly, not one man, one vote, and then it'll be done. I want my name on a lawsuit to sue the state of Georgia over this redistricting plan, which I think is going to come up. Put my name on the list first. Is this representative democracy or an example of adverse socialism? My second question, and this is to the legislator, Democratic elected and Republican elected legislators, how can you justify the extensive cuts in public education that the Georgia legislature has imposed on the state of Georgia, when we know informed and well-educated citizens know that a quality education is the foundation of a good community? I like a quality education. Got 3 degrees, worked hard in school, worked hard to educate young people. I don't understand how we can take all that money out of the system. Where's the money going? I want my tax money to support good schools, because I understand that educated people make good decisions. And I think that many of our legislators, they don't impress me as being well educated, based on what I know. Thank you.
Tasha Brown.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Lynn Bailey. I'm the elections director here in Richmond County. I'd like to welcome you all to Augusta and the other members of committees. Perhaps like to state the obvious or restate the obvious, but as you go through the process of drawing these lines, we'd like to encourage the committee to try their best to keep the precinct boundary lines intact. We know full well that district numbers will change. We know that the faces of representatives will change. But if we can at least get people to the right polling place on election day, then we can explain the changes to them. So please try to keep that in mind as you've said about the process. We know that the lines have to go somewhere, but to the extent that you can, hold those precinct boundary lines is very important as far as keeping down confusion on election day. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ooh. Shirley Fields.
Good afternoon to everybody. Shirley Fields, Burt County. I have a question I'd like for you to really ponder and to take it very seriously. I want to know what are the chances of this legislative body returning to the past practice of having the University of Georgia, Carr Vision Institute, assist in drawing the new district lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Katharina Reeves. Katharina Reeves. Cynthia Crawford. Thank you. H. Wade Johnson. Wade Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That is the list that we have. I don't know if we have any more signed up out front.
Yes.
What is, it's good, you know, it's a good opportunity for all of us on the committee to get public information, and we all thank you. But could you please, while we have this time, tell how many you can respond to those questions that will be on the webpage, or how possibly the responses, or how to get access, or know more about the address these people?
Well, that's not the purpose of this hearing, and we're not going to get into all that, or we'll be here all night. So we're here to hear from the public, and if you want to explain that to them, you can. But we're going to take a break if we don't have anybody else to speak, because we're going to stay here till 7 o'clock, because some people, like last night, somebody showed up at 10 minutes till 7, and luckily we had stayed there for them, and they were able to speak to our committee because we had taken a break and waited. So some people get off work and, believe it or not, want to come and tell us, like y'all have, what you think about the redistricting process. So once we get through these, we will take a break, and some of us are going to hang around till 7 o'clock.
Elbert Wilson. Elbert Wilson. There we go.
Hey there, how you doing? My name is Elbert Wilson, and I'm very passionate about my community. Anyway, I want to start by this right here. How would this, well, I know it won't be no fairness in all this redistricting and stuff like that. But basically all I want to say is that I know what y'all doing. Y'all basically trying to keep the people in debt and in fear. And people, we need to stand together. We need to stand together and come against the devils that's trying to do this crazy stuff. And that's all I got to say. Y'all have a blessed day.
Charles Utley.
Good evening. I just want to thank you all for coming, but I don't know whether it's been alluded to earlier. I just got in because I got lost, really. But the thing I want to make sure is that whatever we do, let's make it transparency. And let's make sure that everybody knows what everybody else is doing. And I think if the government is open and transparency, then we'll be able to make good decisions and know what you're doing. And that's the main concern, is as we draw these redistricting lines, let us remember that the public has a right to know what it is and who it is that is doing it. And all I'm saying is, through whatever means you deem necessary, make sure it's trickled down to even the least of those that are in the various communities, down to their addresses, where they would also know what is being done in their area, down to their street, block, and name. So I'm saying that if you make it transparency, a lot of things that is in the assumption of our minds will be cleared up. So put that in your thinking as you go forward with whomever is going to do it. And I understand that the university, I heard the University of Georgia is not doing it. Well, we could ask for the transparency because it being a public entity. But however, if it's a private entity, make sure that information is trickled down to the least of us, that we all know the process and where we stand as the redistricting takes place. And I hope that this would be the main thing that will keep us informed. Again, I'm Charles Utley, and I'm a local resident here in the Augusta area. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you see Barbara? I don't see Barbara. Tasha Brown signed up again. Okay, we'll give her a chance. We're going to be here till 7. Mark Pugh. Mark Pugh? Okay. Thank you. You want to take a break?
With that, we don't have anybody else signed up right now, so we're going to take a 15-minute break. We're going back into a hearing in about 4 minutes. 4 minutes. If anybody's here who hasn't signed up, that's come in late, that would like to speak to us, we still have a sign-up sheet outside the door there. So we've got 3 or 4 more that have signed up. If there's anybody else here that needs to, 3 minutes and we'll be back in session.
We've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 people. So that's
Oh, we got 7. Okay, so we need to get started.
I mean, you never know.
All right, we have seven new presenters, so we need to get started. Senator, if you could get everybody in here seated, we'd appreciate it. We've got 7 more, so, and 1 more. Oh, yeah. All right, everybody, we're gonna start calling you up. Before we start back, have there been any representatives or senators who have come in that have not been introduced to the crowd? I saw Barbara Sims here somewhere. Barbara, are you still in here? Would you come up here to the microphone and tell everybody who you are and where you're from? And I think that one over there may work. And she gets the award. She may not be the last one in. I think there's another one here we're going to call on in a minute. You might as well come on up here too. The fellow from Fargo, representative from South Georgia.
I think if you're last, they don't let you really talk.
No speeches, just introduce yourself quickly.
I'm Barbara Sims, and I represent District 119, and welcome. We're delighted everybody's here. I guess that's all I get to say.
That's very good. We appreciate that. And Representative Black.
I'm Ellis Black, and I'm from District 174, which is right down on the Florida line. I tell everybody that I represent everything between Metcalf and Fargo. And if that tells you anything, it tells me a lot about what you might know. Good to be with y'all.
Appreciate y'all being here. Anybody else we've overlooked that's come in, representative or senator? Okay, we're going to get back to calling names and getting some more input. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to the list with Tasha Brown again. There we go. And after Ms. Brown will be Mark Pugh.
Just want to remind the newcomers that we do have a 3-minute time limit so that we can hear from all of you.
You say newcomer, I'm an old comer. I'm one of the old ones.
You were here earlier, weren't you?
I was here when y'all started the land. Yeah. Let's say that. My name is Tasha Brown. I'm a master cosmetologist, a master teacher of African culture, spirituality, as well as musician. And don't be offended by anything I have to say because I'm a poet, so I'm very expressive. And what I want to ask is that first reason why I'm here is because I don't understand politics, so I'm trying to understand politics so I can be the new leader of my community. And also, I would like to compliment that the lady had mentioned earlier that it was 6 white men holding a meeting, and now it's 2. And I'm basically going to go into fairness and dealing with minorities. You actually remove, or the leaders of Augusta remove people from the land and put them out towards South Augusta. Now, I want to know, when you're moving them out to South Augusta, will there be enough jobs there? Would they also be able to have businesses within their community? And can they come back to these new districts and actually get a loan from the districts? And would they actually be racially profiled when they come into these new districts that you're building? And what's the reason of new districting? Because see, it happened when Native Americans was here. It happened after slavery time, and it's happening again. So I want you to dig deep into your memory banks and ask you, what is the reason of it? Is it based off of race? Is it based off of economic status? Is it based off of family lines? These are all the things that's important because a lot of people out in Augusta, Georgia is not being counted for. And how many of them have the knowledge of what censuses are? To be counted in the census, knowing that when they get counted in census, that they actually get money towards the community and make this, and they have the power right to make decisions within their community. But if you're not within a register as in your census, then how do they know their power? I think people should be educated that they have power first. So I think that maybe if you're going to build your new districts, that you need to set up as educational areas so people can learn different things about what's going on. All right, that's all I have to say. All right, y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Debbie McCord.
Thought there was another gentleman in front of me. I'm Debbie McCord. I am here as a representative of the Georgia's 10th District Republican Party. I'm the first vice chair. I'm also the assistant secretary for the Georgia Republican Party. But more importantly, I'm a resident of Columbia County, and I have been a resident of this area for approximately 40 years. I am an employee at the Savannah River site in Aiken, South Carolina, so redistricting is very important to me on two sides of the river. You've been asked to consider several things in terms of redistricting. And I have an expectation that you will accomplish your jobs properly, and that the district lines will be drawn fairly and equitably. They will represent one man, one vote, and undue moving and splitting of counties will be avoided as much as possible. There is one other thing I would like to ask you to consider, and that does impact our economic welfare in this area, and that is to look at communities of interest and communities of economic interest as you draw these lines, particularly for the larger congressional districts, because having effective representation in a district where employment is an issue could help that district grow, help them recruit economic benefits, and do some economic development. Sometimes we have districts split up where it is not possible for them to attract industries, and I hope you will give the economic benefits and the economic commonalities and communities consideration in this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise Troina.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a mother. I'm a physical therapist. I might consider myself a citizen of the world, but I'm a resident of Georgia and proud of it. I'm glad you're here to listen to us. I'm also here as a member of the Georgia Green Party, serving as coordinating council member and past co-chair. And we have some concerns, like a lot of other people in this room. I wanted to make sure that you knew that we really wonder why this process is not being conducted by an independent or more independent body. We also want to know how you will make this process transparent. We urge that you publish to the public the criteria you'll utilize in making these decisions and openly allow for public response to it prior to its submission to the Department of Justice. Georgians deserve a fair process and one that ensures representation of all its citizens. We deserve it and we demand it. We are veterans, we are civilians, we need mass transportation, affordable housing, health care, clean energy, jobs, and better, much better education. Drawing these districts makes a difference to us. Please, please, we demand transparency and fairness. Again, we deserve it and we're demanding it. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Cooks. Robert Cooks. Gloria Greenbaum.
Again, thank you for the opportunity for everyone to speak. I am a former treasurer of the Richmond County Democratic Party and have been active in politics almost all of my life. My question is, will the proposed redistricted maps be published in the newspaper so that all of the public can see those maps? And after we have seen them and we offer comments, and I hope you will give directions as to how those comments can be heard. What will the process be after that? Thank you for your time.
That's all the names we have. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak and didn't have an opportunity? Hold it up until 7.
Here we go.
Good afternoon. My name is Marion Williams. I signed at the door, and I guess you hadn't had a chance to bring it by. Question may have already been asked before, but my name is Marion Williams. I'm pastor of Friendship Baptist Church at 2543 Deansbridge Road here in Augusta. And I'm glad to be able to be a part of this redistricting. I guess I got several questions. I guess I need to know when is the last time that the line was redrawn and what difference that made. And when the lines are redrawn this time, will we know before of what it will affect before it goes to the Justice Department, anybody else? Will we have an opportunity to see what the lines are? The line to be sent from the time we withdraw them to the Justice Department. And the reason I asked that, a young lady just spoke a little while ago talking about fairness. It's too late after the dogs get out the fence to run them down the kitchen. We need to make sure that we look at those things ahead of time. And I would appreciate an opportunity just to see what the lines are going to be, who's they going to affect, and where it's going to be affected at. Thank you very much.
I think that's all we have. If there's nobody else that wishes to address us, we will be in recess until 7 o'clock or until someone else shows up that wants to speak to us. So we'll be at ease until a little bit before 7.
Have your attention. We're going to reconvene in 1 minute. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're about ready to finish up. There is one more order of business that we do want to undertake here at the request of one of the citizens who asked me a question. So if we could have order just for 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we will be done for the evening. First of all, on behalf of the entire House and Senate reapportionment committees, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, for taking the time out of your lives to provide us the input and the information that you have and your opinions about how redistricting should be done here. I do want to take one more opportunity, and I'm going to ask all of the representatives and senators that are here, because I had a citizen asked me to have everyone stand up again so that they could see who is on the committee. So if all the members of the apportionment committees, reapportionment committees in the Senate and the House could stand up, the ones who are still here could stand up. And the reason that she asked me was she was wondering from some of the comments if it were just Roger and me making the decisions. And I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that no, it's the entire committee. And we are only 2 of the 24, I think, votes on the House side and 16 on the Senate side that go through and have the maps available as we begin the committee process on August 15th. Thank you, members. I appreciate it. And so what will happen is on August 15th, the governor's called us back into special session and at that time, we'll take more comment. You can show up to the committee meeting then and give additional information as the maps are drawn. And obviously, they're not drawn at this time because we're taking input from you as to how they will be drawn. It will be an open and transparent process as we go forward, and at that time, we'll all be able to look at them. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out, and with no more speakers, I believe our meeting is adjourned.